Hello, youth workers. What's up? It's Brad here. Thanks for tuning in to Keep It Simple, Stuman. We're talking about something really important today. That is crowd control. I see this question a ton on the Facebook groups that I follow. So we're going to address that today with 3 P's for crowd control. But before we get to that, a couple things. One, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, use the little button down here, the little doorbell that you can get notifications on. We are trucking toward 200 subscribers. We're going to go all the way to 500. We're going to do a giveaway. But if you would like, subscribe, comment, and then share the channel with those who you think it would benefit the most. We are committed here to giving away as much for free as possible. And so we want to give as much for free as possible to as many people as possible. That would be amazing. So without any further ado, let's get into the 3 P's of crowd control. Listen, you've opened up the doors on a Wednesday night or Sunday night or whatever you meet. You've maybe played a game, you've kind of goofed around, and now it's time to settle them down for a lesson, and you get up to speak, and you spend half the time telling this person to put their phone away, or that person to stop talking, or separating the junior hires from each other. And how do you do that? And I see questions all the time on the Facebook groups that I follow about how do you get kids to be quiet, how do you get them to behave, how do you get them to pay attention to the lesson. And it comes in forms of questions like this. Hey, I've got these kids, they're non-church kids, and they don't listen, they don't pay attention. How do I get them to do that? Okay, so we're gonna get into some tips and tools in a minute that I think could help you over the long haul. But two things first. First of all, please be praising God that non-church kids are coming to your group. They found a place to be and belong where they don't feel threatened, and they're coming to your group, and at least they're there, okay, right? So I know it doesn't help you so much, but just have that frame of mind that you're glad that unchurched kids are in your group. Second is this: we cannot expect the non-churched kids, non-youth group kids who start showing up to our group to behave in the same way that everyone else does. Will they catch on in the long term? Probably they will. But if they are not believers, if they don't have a system of moral behavior that they've learned since the womb, we cannot expect them to act the same way. So we have to treat them different in some ways. But that all being said, so that's how I want you to think about this. But that all being said, there are 3 P's I think can help you. So we'll start with the first one, and it is presence. Okay, presence. Now, I know all of our personalities are different body types. Some of us are men, some of us are women, some of us are short, some of us are tall, some of us have these amazing beards, some of us have peach fuzz. We're all different, right? But we can all have a presence about us, especially when we're speaking, that can demand some respect and some attention. So a couple things with presence. First, when you're speaking, don't waste time by saying, hey guys, what's up? Glad to see you again. That's a waste of your time. Just start in and work really hard on the first 30 seconds of your talk. Because if you don't have them in the first 30 to 60 seconds, you're probably not going to have them at all. So sometimes when I start messages, I start with things like this. So I was driving along the road one day and I saw this terrible motorcycle accident. Or have you ever felt like you're totally alone and no one likes you? I start with things like that immediately grab people's attention. They get them thinking, they get them shocked, they get them sitting in their seat correctly. And from that point, I really have control of the room. Also, I think having a physical presence, making sure you don't sway too much, you don't fidget with your hands, that you don't appear nervous, that you appear in charge, that's really important. And that's something you need to work on. And here's this is going to sound really funny. Practice in front of a mirror. And if you don't believe yourself, the 7th graders in the front row aren't going to believe you. Neither will the 12th graders in the back row, right? Because the older cool kids sit in the back. So presence is really important, but also be present in the same way at other times, whether it's games or the free time or the worship time. Make sure that your presence is felt not as an authoritarian dictator, but as an authority that creates boundaries. Kids really do crave boundaries, and they'll respect you for it in the long run. So that's the first P, presence. Second P is programming. I think we can help with their attention span by doing really good, excellent programming. And a couple tips with this. First is, please schedule all your time. You can schedule intentional free time. So like on a Sunday night when they come, they've got about the first 10 minutes or so to play different games. We have a 9 square and a ping pong table. We have basketball outside. We have some table games, things like that. They can sit and talk. That's their sort of time where they can be social and talk. And then we move right into an organized game or several, and then into some worship time. And then by the time that they've gotten into the message time, they have progressively had to pay a little more attention and restrain themselves a little more for that short amount of time. But everything is scheduled out. So we don't have a block of just free time where just people can do whatever they want. So we schedule intentional free time, and there is free time at the end, so they can look forward to having some time to go back and play 9 Square or talk to a friend or whatever at the end as well. So programming can help you a lot. Also, make sure that in your program you're really smart with what things you put next to each other. It's tough to go to a really crazy, athletic, amazing game and then sit right down and do a lesson, okay? Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes worship, actually, even though it is still worship, I know theological mess getting in here, but worship is worship, but it can serve also as a buffer between a game and a lesson time where they're still engaging and they're beginning to engage spiritually. Music sort of brings it out of them. Their heart rate sort of lessens a little bit, but their attention comes on a little more. The music engages their brain and they're ready for their message time. So creative and intentional programming can be a big part of solving that problem. And the third thing is parents. I know that parents are the hard part of youth ministry, but if there are students who are continually an issue, you can work with their parents. Talk to them and say, hey, listen, you've become a distraction, and so here's some of the things that I've seen that are becoming a distraction to you, but also to other people. And if that doesn't help with that, you need to engage parents. And if that means a parent needs to come along with, or needs to come alongside with you and talk with them, the same thing would be true if it was happening at school. You have to engage the parents because we work alongside parents to produce disciples. And so you have to engage parents. So 3 P's, presence, programming, and parents are 3 ways that you can help fix the problem of some lack of attention. Now, remember, you're still working with kids, right? So you have to put up with some level of goofing off, talking, chit-chatting, right? But the amount of attention that you give to it can drop dramatically if you follow those 3 P's, I think. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. This is my 10th school year. And I have to say, I've never had a problem with this. I've never had a group that was my group. I've gone and spoken other places where I thought, man, those guys were wound up and they didn't pay attention. But I've never had a group that I pastored that had a real issue with this. And I think it's because I've identified that these 3 P's have been important to me the whole entire time. Occasionally I'll have to kind of give someone a look as I'm talking, right? You give them the look, right? But for the most part, I do not have systemic problems like this. And I've had kids who have never stepped foot in a church until they came to youth group. I've had kids who have crazy messed up home lives and who I see go in the parking lot and they're like chasing after kids and cursing, but when they're in rooted or when they're in our group, they act differently, and I think these 3 P's have helped. So hopefully that's helpful to you as you think about that. Again, every kid's different. Every kid's got different things going on, and so definitely have the conversation with them and the parents as well. So 3 P's, presence, programming, parents. Hopefully it helps you control the crazy crowd because they're all like, wah, right? And hopefully that helps you feel less frustrated and more intentional with your time with kids because it's limited. So God bless you. Hey, stay tuned because we have a little bit of a 60-second hack that's coming tomorrow. So come back tomorrow because you're going to see the 60-second hack involving just this little notebook and what you can do in 1 minute every single day to make your ministry more intentional and bear more fruit. So we just this little notebook and 60 seconds every day. So check back tomorrow and you'll check that out. Great. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye-bye.